Welcome. I am Carrie Shipman, member of Leadership Lafayette Class 50. Will you please introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Raquel Lopez. I'm the producing artistic director for Civic Theatre of Greater Lafayette. We are the only community theater in town, actually, if you can believe that.
Yeah. Exciting. Will you provide us with a snapshot of your organization and the role you have within your organization?
Sure. So we are we're turning 90. This is our 90th season coming up. So we're a 90-year-old nonprofit community theater. We're strictly, our actors are volunteers. Most of our crew are volunteers. We have a small staff of an education director, a director of development, and tech crew. And we put on 9 shows a year. We have 5 main stage and 4 youth shows. We have a really strong youth program that's been active for about 50 of the 90 years. So, and then we do a lot of specialty shows. We do staged readings. We have a 10-minute play festival that features local playwrights every year. So all kinds of stuff, and we're looking to expand and broaden even more in the upcoming years. So yeah.
What is your role that you serve?
Let's see.
What many hats?
Yeah, about the only thing I don't do is teach the classes, because that's Julie's job. But no, I, especially post-COVID, a lot. You know, unfortunately, we had to furlough some staff, and so. Right now, I'm basically, as producing artistic director, it's executive director with also artistic influence. So I help with a season planning committee. I help and steer them towards a season every year. I do a lot of the research of plays and productions that we'll be putting on. But yeah, other than that, it's just grant writing, all of those things. So
Good.
yeah.
When working to attract volunteers, what attributes are you searching for?
I am searching for, enthusiasm for our organization would be nice, to know who we are. And, I'm working really hard to make sure everybody knows who we are. But commitment's a big one. I know people a lot of times, and I'm the same way, you'll get really excited about doing a certain thing, and then it kind of peters out, whatever. What is the word? Teeter or Peter? I don't know, one of those. And unfortunately, to constantly be circulating can be hard, depending on what we need a volunteer for, right? But then on the other hand, I have a house manager that's been the house manager for over 30 years. So we have a lot of committed people that love the place and have been with the organization for a very long time. But for future volunteers, I would, not that you have to be with us 30 years, but I would just like someone who sees themselves with us for at least the season, to commit to some time, because a lot of times once the season takes off, we're looking we've got this roster of volunteers that we're kind of relying on. So that would be great.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
So during the pandemic, what has been the biggest need or gap that you have identified for volunteers?
Oh, what a great question. That's a hard one, because we ceased all of our productions for this year. So we haven't had a show since March of 2020, really. We did a stand-up show outside on our parking lot. We did a virtual show that we videotaped, but outside of our classes and workshops and camps, we haven't, which we reduced to a very low number. We did a lot virtually. We haven't really had, the only volunteers we've really used were, Julie used some volunteers for her camps and workshops. So moving forward, it's going to be interesting to see where we are with all of our volunteers. Hopefully a lot are itching to get back, because like I said, we do have a lot. We have over 200 people that are kind of in our database that come and go quite often. But it'll be interesting to see how I will probably need even more help and support, because we've furloughed some staff, and so there's a lot of areas, social media. That's right now we have Purdue students doing that, and but they're, that only goes till May, and then in fact they just asked me not too long ago, who's taking over when we're gone? I'm like, good question, not me. So things like that. But yeah, that just came to my mind. But it'll be interesting to see. I'm sure once we get up and moving again, I'll be like, oh my God, yeah, we need this, we need that, we need people here, there, yeah.
So can you give us a little bit more detail around some of the volunteer roles that you can see are in need? So you pointed out that Purdue students will be leaving in May. What are some of those roles to help me better understand if I'm looking at your organization to volunteer? What could I expect some of the roles to be?
Sure. Well, we do. We need a lot of volunteers per show. So we typically need volunteers for crew, so backstage. We need a lobby. We have a brand new, just before COVID hit, we unveiled our brand new lobby bar. I need a bar staff. We are going to be serving some of our season ticket holders are going to get kind of drink service to their seats. So I'm going to need people who would be willing to serve to during the pre-shows. We're going to have we need people passing out programs, things like that. So each show is kind of unique depending on how big it is, how, our musicals are obviously sellouts most of the time. So we need sometimes more people on deck for those kind of things. We also do opening night receptions. So opening night we have free food in the lobby from a specific restaurant that'll sponsor. So a lot of times having people there to help set up for that these are the kinds of things. Sure. But if you're a costumer or you're into wigs, makeup, sometimes we have some big shows coming up next year that we'll be needing people with those, with an expertise actually. So there's all kinds of fun stuff. If you just think theater and then, and all the things that go with that, and then I also need facilities people, anybody who knows how to maybe who would be interested in volunteering some time to help with a little bit of our landscaping. We don't have much, but just little things like that I just don't have time for. We have a facilities committee, but again, we can always use an extra hand. So
that's helpful. Thank you for the additional information.
Sure.
How is your organization allowing volunteers to serve during the pandemic while keeping them safe?
Okay. Oh, so what are protocols?
Yeah.
Okay. So there haven't been many because we haven't had really anything happening. So the only thing that we've had guidelines with have been our classes. So we reduced our classes. Classes used to be 20, 25 children down to 10 or less. Masks are required throughout the entire class. She distances the children. There's no scenes where people are now interacting. Scene studies done a lot differently for now. When we reopen, it's really hard for me to say. I've had a lot of people ask me this question, and I kind of find it humorous because I'm like, if you've taken any notes from this last year, will tell you that from week to week things change. So I can't anticipate what's going to happen in July, which would be the first time we would have in person for our 10-minute play festival. If there is, if we tend to be in, worse shape than we are now, then we can always move that outside. However, our big season will kick off in September, and our plan is indoor. And we're just, we're going back to normal. I don't know. But if masks are required, masks will be required. If social distancing will be a difficult thing in our theater. We only hold 155, so it's just hard to do that. I can't afford to do a show if I can only seat 50 people. So, which is one of the reasons we shut down all year. We started to try to do that, and thought about doing it, and there was just no way. So I don't know. I mean, I will follow any CDC guidelines, and if the CDC guidelines infringe so much into where I cannot put on a show, then we won't have shows, and then we'll have to figure something else out. But yeah, so just stay tuned is what I can tell you. Yeah.
Are there other ways a individual could volunteer to serve your organization without physically being present?
Social media.
Okay.
There we go. Yeah, social media, updating our website would be helpful. And it's something I'm doing. Yeah, anyone who has skills in those newsletter that I do that has now fallen on, that used to be our office manager's job, I'm now doing, things like that I would love to get off my plate would be helpful. People have those skills.
Sure.
I am not an admin person, funny enough, and that's pretty much what my job has been all year. So I've had a lot of training.
What is the best way for someone to contact your organization to volunteer or offer other forms of help?
Oh, sure. Just email me, Raquel, RAQUEL, at LafayetteCivic.org. You can go on our website. If we have all our contact information on our website, which is LafayetteCivic.org. Or you can call us, 765-423-PLAY.
Great. Thank you so much for your time today and for all the information.
Absolutely.